Welcome back, everybody, to the Minnesota Twins franchise. It's episode 71. We left off last episode talking about some potential trades that this team could make with the deadline approaching. I absolutely wanted to make at least one more move, and after reading some of your feedback, the moves have been made. I felt that this team needed another starting pitcher. We've had 4 pretty solid pitchers this year, but finding that 5th, that's been a really big challenge, even though we have so many promising pitchers in the organization. So for the short term, we're absolutely looking to another team to fill that role. I also felt that if there was a good opportunity, we could still add at least one more bullpen arm. I did want to go target a lefty, but I wasn't going to make that a necessity. We already added Kevin Quackenbush last episode, who was closing for the Padres. And now today, we lead off here with a move to the Atlanta Braves. Mike Foltynewicz is a very solid pitcher who's had a great season, and the Braves would not be demanding a lot in return. Foltynewicz has a 2.76 ERA this season, his whip is less than 1, and he still has team control into next year. The Braves want prospects in return. They had interest in Willie Ordonez, Carmen Ojeda, but there was one option I felt that was the best for us, and that was to trade away Luis Sardinas, who is a middle infielder down at the AAA level for us. I didn't want to trade him because he's been playing pretty well, but I feel we have other good infielders that can take his spot. And in our organization, he still had a pretty unclear path to the majors, especially considering Nick Gordon is obviously one of our top prospects. And as far as having another good developmental defensive shortstop, there's Angel Vielma still, who's 24 years old. His ratings have a lot of similarities, and he's only 24. The next thing I wanted to do was to gauge offers for DH/first baseman Kenny Vargas. We have a lot of depth as far as DHs and first basemen go in this organization, and I felt that if we could get a reliever, it would be worth it. And the Texas Rangers wanted to add another power bat and were willing to give up Jeremy Jeffress in return. This I could not pass up on. I did choose a different prospect here in the trade to add to the deal as we get second baseman Michael De Leon. But I feel that Jeffress is another great addition to our bullpen, and he should give us a bit more strikeout upside. So with the added players on our roster, we obviously had to send down Fernando Romero back to AAA after a very brief stint here at the majors. And then for the relief pitchers, I wanted to move Trevor May and put him on the trading block. And with this trade, I just wanted to go get some prospects, and we ended up selecting a deal here from the St. Louis Cardinals, who sent us shortstop Juan Herrera and left fielder Andrew Pullen. I wanted to get Herrera in this deal after we traded away Sardinas, especially with Angel Vielma's injury this season. So that's our last trade that we made. Fernando Abad then gets designated for assignment. We did not replace him with another lefty, but I still feel this bullpen is a lot better, but we'll see if only having one lefty in it now comes back to hurt us. Here is how the pitching staff looks now at the major league level. I feel it's a lot better. Foltynewicz will be on this team hopefully for at least a couple seasons, and I think that now we're stronger for our postseason run. We then send Jose Barrios down to AA because he just hasn't played well this year at AAA. Really hoping he can make some progress this year with the time that's remaining. And now we head into the end of July with a series on the road here against the Chicago White Sox as we continue our playoff push. The White Sox end up taking the first game of the series here 3-1. Lance Lynn gets the loss. We see Quackenbush and Jeffress both got into the game. Quackenbush did allow a run. In the next game, Chicago also wins. This time they get the better of Maxwell Fowler and drop him to 9-4 on the season. So trying to save a sweep. Here in Chicago, it's the Minnesota Twins at 63-40, with Mike Foltynewicz taking the mound in his Twins debut against Jose Quintana. Twins trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Here's Paul Goldschmidt in the first, a 3.43 average, 28 long balls. Here's a 2-0 count. Quintana gives him one to drive, and Goldschmidt sends it out to right center, but it's tracked down. Very quick first for Quintana, and now the debut of Mike Foltynewicz. That .99 whip really stands out, the 2.76 ERA, and of course he has not been used to run support. That'll hopefully be different now with this team. His first pitch is drilled to short. Yunel Escobar, an off-balance throw, and not in time to get Anderson. And on the first pitch of the game for us, we actually challenged the call. I thought at full speed that he was out, but Anderson did reach. Andrew McCutchen up next, and a bouncer to short, 6-4-3. 2 outs on 2 pitches here for Foltynewicz. Facing his third batter, Jose Abreu, entering with a 286 average, and Foltynewicz runs that one inside and hits him. Abreu to first base, then Todd Frazier. No call on a pitch that looked like a strike, and then Frazier takes the knuckle curve below the knees. 2 aboard with 2 down for Lucas Duda. Won't chase the slider. 2-1, hammered out to center field. Buxton back to the wall. This one is out of here. A 3-run homer for Duda, his 17th of the season. Not the way I wanted to see Folty introduced to this team. Duda, who entered with a 208 average, puts 3 on the board, and the White Sox weren't done. They get another base hit. A really rough first inning here in Chicago. Runner goes to second base, and Mitch Garver is actually the one that records the final out. Wow, what a terrible first inning. Top of the second for Minnesota. This will help a little bit. Miguel Sano with a moonshot to left center field. A solo homer to get us on the board. Sano's 16th, it travels 438 feet. Still in the second inning, here's Eddie Rosario taking a close pitch, and then a curveball runs inside. He walks on to first base. Yunel Escobar up next, hitting 269 on the season, and this is sent down the line for extra bases into the corner. Escobar on to second. Here comes Rosario. Relay. There at the dish is in time. A perfect setup for Chicago to get that final out as we get too greedy. Bottom 2, Chicago. Here is a long fly ball tracked down by Buxton in the gap. And with 2 away, a runner on after a walk. This time, Folty has a much better inning, and the balls that were put in play weren't hit quite as well. Bottom 3, however, Andrew McCutchen leads off and takes a breaking ball over the bullpen into the left field bleachers. Another long ball allowed. 4-1 Sox. Here's Lucas Duda one more time. Bouncer up the middle. Twins get 1. Harrison pulls Goldie off of first base. There's another error. 2 on for the White Sox. And then a walk to load the bases for Avisail Garcia. 1-1 count. In the air out to left. White Sox don't score this time, but they do load the bases and continue to hit well off of Foltynewicz. Top 4 Minnesota. We stay patient against Quintana. And there's Goldschmidt walking to first base. Nelson Cruz with a pitch down the middle, sent out hard to center, but hit right at Garcia for an easy out. And Mitch Garver, full count, base hit into right. Twins get 2 aboard, trying to chip away and get back into this game. Here's Rosario again. First pitch swinging on the ground to second base. White Sox get out of the inning. Foltynewicz just trying to settle things down and get through a couple more innings. Here is McCutchen. 2-2 count, and McCutchen waves at the slider. That was the first strikeout of the game for Folty. Top of the 5th, Byron Buxton at bat as he takes a fastball outside. And while his hitting hasn't been great this year, as long as he finds a way to reach base, good things can happen for this team. Nice try on the throw, a little bit late there. Buxton in at second base, as the Twins have actually been one of the better base-stealing teams this year without a ton of team speed. Here's a bouncer to third, and Harrison is retired, so the Twins again get a runner in scoring position, but can't bring him home. Bottom 5, Foltynewicz against Lucas Duda. Already at pitch 88, and this is sent down the line toward the foul pole, and it's gone for another home run. Duda entered this game with a cold streak, and he sure got out of it in a good way. The White Sox are 45-61 this year, but they have a lot of players with hot streaks, and if you look at their averages, you can just see how much as a team they're improving offensively. That was it for Folty. Not a good outing, only 1 strikeout, 5 runs allowed. In comes Kevin Quackenbush. Lefties were hitting only 180 off of him, but that'll help the average a little bit. That's Moncada out to left field. And with 2 away, Garcia gets a hold of 1. Way out to center. That is long gone. An absolute rocket from Avisail Garcia, 443 feet. All right, how about Jeremy Jeffress? The first two players acquired by trade haven't done well on this one. Jeffress, that is hit hard to third base. Sano airmails it. And that'll be another error for Minnesota. It was just that kind of game. No home run allowed, at least by Jeffress. 10-1 Sox here in the ninth. Eddie Rosario comes through with an RBI single. Next up, it's Escobar. Gets jammed a bit, but gets it past second base. Another run comes home. 2 on still for the Twins. And then Charlie Blackmon. 0-1 count. That one is through the middle. 3 straight hits for Minnesota. As Blackmon reaches, we try to test the throw home, and it's in time to get Rosario. It's a fitting end to this kind of game. It just didn't go well in any department. I guess actually one department did go well. We drew like 4 walks against Quintana. But wow, the newcomers to our pitching staff did not have a good showing. The first impression for Foltynewicz is not a very good one. But of course, it's one game. These things happen. And it just so happened to be in the first outing where we get all 3 of them in the same game. Also, the team is just not playing well as a whole. We're not scoring the same amount of runs, and we just have been losing so much in the month of July. We entered the All-Star break with a losing streak, and now we have another long one going on. We get swept by the Sox. We lose another series to the Detroit Tigers. Even Dallas Keuchel has a terrible outing, allowing 8 runs. That is just incredible. In the next game against Detroit, we do win 8-0. We had to win eventually. Lance Lynn goes the distance in this one. Twins get a much needed win, but we got to start taking some series now as we head into the month of August. We have some injuries going down with Johnny Sandoval and a couple other players actually. Tyler Duffy, our one long reliever at the major league level, he's going to miss a little bit of time. So that's even more important now that our starters start having better outings. I'm probably going to have to call up somebody as well for the next week or two to be a long reliever. We lose our first game of August to the Texas Rangers 5-3. And we're going to pick up the action in our next game against Texas. We're going to see Foltynewicz out there again. We can't just not come back to him after that kind of an outing. So the Twins go 10-15 in July. Still, we have this slim lead over Cleveland. But our lead is now shrinking, and the American League is so competitive. There are going to be teams with very good records that don't make the postseason, and we better not become one of those teams. But we're not playing our best ball right now. We have a lot of cold streaks for key hitters. Things need to turn around before we get ourselves into a tough predicament this season. These stretches will happen from time to time. It's rare to go through a full season without a bad month, but it can't linger into the month of August. We have 2 months now to get this team in shape for the postseason, and I'm hoping that next episode begins a turnaround. There were no major deals this year at the deadline. I was really surprised about that. It seems that we made some of the more aggressive moves. So, we head into the rest of the season now, 64-44. We'll see if Folty gets back on track in our game against the Rangers next episode. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one and liked the moves that I made to strengthen this team. We just gotta be playing better now. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next episode here very shortly. Have a great day, everybody.